you guys, welcome back. We're going to read a story. But before we get started, let's sing our song together. And I know you guys know this song. You ready?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I caught a fish alive. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I let it go again. Why did you let it go?
Because he bit my finger so.
Which
Finger did he
bite? This little finger on the right.
Yeah, bit my finger. That wasn't nice of that fish. But you guys, today we're going to read a story. And the name of our story is called Curious George Goes Fishing. And look, he's sitting on a dock trying to catch a fish with his fishing pole. So let's read and find out what happens. This is George. He's a good little monkey. He's always very curious. And curious means that you want to know something. One day he saw a man with a pole and a string. George had a string too, right there in his hand. Look. The pole on the string is for a fish. It's called a fishing pole. I'm thinking the man is going to go fishing. Let's keep reading and find out. George was curious. Where is the man going? The man went to the lake. Look, that's the lake back there. And a lake is a place where water is and fish live inside of that water. Look. George is following the man to the lake. He wants to see what the man will do. He is curious. He wants to know what the man is doing. And remember, we said curious, it means you want to know something. The man put a hook on the string. Look right there. He put some food on his hook. Food came from out of there. He hooked it on there. He put the hook in the water. See, he dropped it in the water. And a hook is something you use to put the food on so that the fish will eat it. Look, the man is on the dock. This is the dock. And the fish are in the lake. The man caught a fish right there with the hook. George wanted to catch a fish too. He wanted to catch it too. Well, let's see what he's going to do to try to catch it. George needed a stick. He knew where to find one. Look at George. He's going to get his stick. I'm thinking he wants a stick so that he can catch a fish just like the man. A mop would be a good stick. George tied it up. Look, he tied the string onto the mop. Look. I think that was a smart idea. The mop will make a great stick for a fishing pole. Now George needs a hook and some food. He knew where to find them. There's his hook and there's his food. Look at him. George had a string and a stick. He had a hook and he had some food. He went back to the lake right there. Whoa, George is all ready to go fishing. George put the string in the water. George was curious. Would he catch a fish? I wonder. George is sitting on the dock with his fishing pole in the water. Look, he is curious if he would catch a fish. He wondered if he would. I wonder too. Let's keep reading and find out. The fish were curious too. They had never seen cake on a string before. Look at them. Wow, look at all of the fish. They were all curious what was on that string. They wanted to know because they had never seen cake before. Look at that big fish. He's eating the cake. George pulled up his string. No cake. It was gone. No fish. The fish liked the cake. Yummy. George liked cake too. Look at him. He's eating the cake. The fish and George like cake. I'm thinking You would like cake too. I do. I bet it was delicious. It tastes very good. And remember, delicious means that it tastes good. George couldn't catch a fish with his hook. Maybe he could catch a fish with his hand. Look at him right there. George reached into the water. Look, I wonder if George can catch that fish with his hand. Let's turn the page and find out. Splash! George fell into the lake. Oh no, George is in the lake with the fish. And he's all wet and he didn't catch a fish. Yeah, he's soaking wet. George was wet. Look at him, all that water dripping off of him. He saw his friend Bill. Bill was going to fly a kite, and that's his kite. Does George want to help Bill fly his kite? I wonder, does he? Let's turn the page and find out. Yes! George would love to help Bill fly his kite. Look, and a kite is something that flies up in the air and it has a long string on it. George loves flying the kite with Bill. He is running all over the grass with a big smile on his face. Look, they both are smiling. He's delighted. He's so happy. I think he likes flying kites even more than fishing. So he likes playing with his friend Bill and flying kites more than fishing. And that's probably because he fell in the water. You guys, remember we said we were going to read this book to find out what happened. Did George catch a fish or didn't he? But we know what happened. Did he catch a fish? You're right. No, he didn't. And do you remember why he didn't catch a fish? Let's look back and see. Remember right here? What did George put on his hook for the fish? You're right. Delicious cake. And remember what we said? That the fish had never saw cake before. So they were what? Curious. You're right. Just like Curious George. Which means curious. You want to know something. And look, remember? What happened here? You're right. The fish did eat up the cake. Because it was delicious and they had never seen it before. And what is George doing right here? He's eating cake too because he likes cake like the fish. But when he couldn't catch the fish, what did he do? You're right, he did try to reach his hand down and catch the fish with his hand. So, did he catch the fish? No, you're right, he fell in the water. And once he got out of the water, do you guys remember what he did? You're right. He seen his friend Bill and they went and did what? They flew the kite together. And let me see if you guys can remember. Which one did George like best? Going fishing or flying the kite? You're right. He said he liked flying the kite the best. And that's the end, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it.